The title of this video is Fellowship. A great many of you go to church and the guy preaches or whoever, whatever he says, and afterwards you meet with each other and you go out to breakfast or you go out to dinner or you have coffee and shoot the bull, and you call this fellowship. But really, is that what really the word fellowship means here? Think of it from another sense. Let's say you were a person who, let's say, had a degree in some area. Or let's even take a notable example. Let's take somebody that most people would know about, C.S. Lewis. Yeah, I think he graduated from Oxford University or Capernwray, whichever the case may be, some high-end school in England. And then once he graduated, he was offered a fellowship, which means he was offered a fellowship to other educated people like himself. And so, having achieved a certain attainment and ability in education, in this case, I guess literature, he was able to achieve a fellowship. So the same thing should probably be true within the Christian church. Is that the fellowship should be for those who actually achieve something in God, more than just that they got basic salvation. I mean, could you imagine someone going to school? He gets to school the first day. He gets he's able to pass the GED requirements, and he's made it into school, and he shows up the first day, and of course the parallel to Christianity would be, oh well, he don't have to go out and get his degree now, because now he can have fellowship. He's made it. He's going to go to heaven and the like, But on the one hand, it's not a thing of education per se, though that wouldn't hurt. It's some sort of discipline applicable to a walk with God would have some merit and some help. Many lack the discipline required to know God's voice and to be able to be in a position where they can have a fellowship with others of like ability rather than just fellowship in the flesh and just basically have a common denominator meeting along certain lines, whether it be a bunch of people who did bowling and so on. Now, of course, there are groups that do that with their church, and that's not necessarily anything wrong with it. It's not a right or wrong thing. It isn't true fellowship after the Spirit as it ought to be. It's a human fellowship, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just not the same thing as true Christian fellowship, which is where people have achieved a certain station in their walk, and probably most notable would be that they were married out to God, and that's where Paul, when he was in the different epistles, you'll notice he'll say, "Unto the saints," or he'll say, "Unto those who are to become saints." And what's he talking about? Is he talking about someone that wears a halo on their head and walks around? They're very holy and they're very reverent when that. I mean, that's great. There may be people out there that can carry on that persona, but does that mean that they have a relationship? And the whole thing is based on a relationship. You have to know. Got to know God's voice at the very basic level before you can know it at the higher level. A lot of course want to get the basic salvation, go right to the book of Revelation and use your mind and try to figure it all out. And of course you have your books out there by Hal Lindsey, and it looks like it's very understandable and this and that and the other thing. And meanwhile, it's not happening. No rapture, and the so-called European common market that they're looking for overseas hasn't quite happened yet. Not realizing that the confederation that they're talking about is actually here in the United States, but that's a whole other subject matter in itself. On that, and very few people want to hear about that. It has something to do with a Interdependent State Act that was established in 1974 under the administration of Nixon, in November of 1974, which ironically enough was the same year that the Longmont Prophecy came out from Kenneth Hagin. You know, but that you guys can do your separate research and find out what all those things mean. The ability in God can be achieved by anybody. You have to spend time at it. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. Here a little, there a little, line upon line, precept upon precept. It takes a long time to figure it out. And sure, there may be people who have gifts. I'm not saying there aren't gifts. Gifts of spirit, word of knowledge. These are all necessary things to have in order to know these things. I mean, He's giving you these gifts so you can know them, not just to run around, babble in tongues, and create schisms within the body of Christ. That, I can speak in tongues and you can't. I mean, that's the very beginning of the gifts, when or is working in miracles and so on. They're given the tools, and you can know these things. But again, it's science. See, in Corinthians, you have this verse that says, do I take all my substance and feed the poor? Well, anybody could do that. And do I study all knowledge? Again, anybody could do that, because somebody else has figured out all that stuff on that and wrote it down for you to read it, And or if I have all faith to move mountains, again, those are initial manifestation gifts that most people have access to on that. But I have not love. Well, love here again is an experience when that. And I have not love, I was a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal in the. I guess people somehow regulated to love to a class of proper manners. This is almost the same class of Amy Vanderbilt's book of etiquette. It's ironic that the Vanderbilts should be writing a book of etiquette. These a bunch of bloodthirsty bastards during the time of the Polk administration who were in bed with Rockefellers and the Browns. We have a school out there called Brown University. Of course, we have also special activities that go on in that part of the country, which is another fairy tale no one wants to hear about. But again, that's on the internet for those of you who want to delve into that and find out what's going on over there. Anyway, all these guys were producing their blood-curdling massacre to the Indians when that, and to the Spanish people and so on for the purchase of I think it was Texas and Oklahoma. And of course, later on led to the Spanish-American War. And of course, history books say, well, we were very good. We beat them out. We beat those guys out. Yeah, we did very good. We prostituted ourselves once again, but money got cleaned up, and all of a sudden everybody's so white and holy. And of course, Vanderbilt wrote a book on etiquette. Hey, what can be better than that? So the fellowship should be an attainment by those who have attained something in God, have achieved something, and these things are not going to happen overnight. And the fellowship, the true fellowship that one can have with one another, is hard to come by. It's quite different than saying, well, did you go to church today, and who's your pastor? Show me someone who's got that on the ball, and then we can meet and talk.